Hello, everyone. My name is Anish from the Voicecraft Collective, and I wanted to talk to you about forest therapy. Now, you know the saying that you can't see the forest through the trees, where you see there are a whole lot of things, but you're not seeing the big picture. So that is where forest therapy for me comes in, where we can actually step back and actually take everything. So what I want to talk you through is what forest therapy is and how you can use it in your life. So, forest therapy is actually uh, immersive, facilitated, slow, and sensory immersion in the forest. And what I mean by that is when you are walking in the forest, then your experience is shaped by invitation, but not direction, and slow, where you are actually taking a step back and the pace is where you can soak everything in. And sensory is where your attention is actually directed to the present moment, not the um, end state, the destination. And so you think this is great, but how does that relate to life? Because from life, we've always been running a race. So we need to be the fastest, the strongest, the smartest. From the time that we've learned to walk, parents have compared us to their friends' children and other children, and they're doing this. Why aren't you doing this? And it seems like school and work always bombarded by fast pace of life. But what I want to do is I want us all to just step back and enjoy the journey. So forest bath is not actually a walk because if you consider a hike, so a hike is really fast paced. You think, oh, I need to get to this trail, and I turn left, I turn right, I just go across that bridge, and then I take a picture, and then I go. But forest bath is driven by your senses. So if you picture walking along the forest, you feel the mud underneath your shoes. You can feel the sensation of the ferns brush against your arm. You can see the sunlight piercing through the trees and even hear what it is. That's what makes the forest so fantastic and immersive, is you're taking everything. And in terms of nature, the trees form more of a backdrop, whereas in a forest bath, it's more of a partner. So we're not focusing on where we want to be, actually enjoying getting there. So that is where I think that there's a lot more value. And when I would like to take a step back, take you to the 1980s, 1990s, when Rachel and Stephen Kaplan had created the attention restoration theory. And what they discovered is, they wanted to understand how the forest can actually upload and uh, improve our mood and our attention. So they found that there were two types of attention. There was the directed attention, in which we do all of our tasks and you know, we tick off every single task on our to-do list and we get the job done, we meet the deadlines. But that attention actually depletes through use. Whereas you have a involuntary attention in which is stimulated by the rustle of the leaves and listening to the water in them. And so while you are getting triggered by voluntary attention, in the background, the directed attention is actually restoring and you're being replenished. So the moment that you need that directed attention, you'll be able to use it. So there are actually four characteristics that will make a forest bath site more restorative for an individual. So you have the first one, which is being away. So physical and psychological distance from everyday demands. That means no phone, no distractions, no talking. And then the second one is fascination, where the environment captures the involuntary attention with ease. So that's the rustle of the leaves. And you know, actually just taking our time and walking through the forest. The third one is the extent, a rich and connected nature of the site so that it feels like we're going into a different world. And finally, we've got compatibility, where the environment supports what the person wants and needs to do. So that seems great, but then how does that relate to having a forest bath? Here is where I'll walk you through the session for a forest bath. So the first one is the opening ritual, and that activates where we are being away. The participants are invited to put their phone down, stop their music, just really take in nature and not actually get bogged down by any distraction. The second one is the early invitations, which encourages all the fascination, soft fascination that happens in forests, so that while that is being activated, we can then let our mind wander and the directed attention in the background is filling up to the top. And we have middle sequence. That is where it sustains the extent of the site, the depth and the richness, so that we can explore and really take advantage of it. And finally, the closing and sharing state, which honors the restored state. Instead of just rushing back into everyday life, we're actually taking our new, restored, relaxed state and back to our work. And then we're allowing that to work for us. So now we have been fully recharged, regenerated, and we can get on with it. So how does that relate to me? Because from my experience, all of the things that we experience in life where people want to rush us, it's things like a salesman who says, you should buy now, right? Otherwise this is not going to last. But then if you take more time, then you have more questions and you have more doubts. And the more that you think on it, the more you think that this is not for me. And then, something that is faster and harder, someone who wants to scam you, calls you and says, hey, you have got a problem with your computer, and you need to actually give me access so that I can help you with your laptop. But then, given if you have more time, then you can think, well, hang on a second. I don't want you to have access to my computer. I don't know you. And what is your motive in actually talking to me? So when we have a look at all of these instances where we've been forced into taking more time, to just we think that this is we should just be faster. We should just look at things and not hesitate. But in actual fact, the more that we rush, the more that we lose sight of the bigger picture, and we just get stuck looking at the trees and we don't take stock of the forest. And this is my invitation for everyone, that rather than getting stuck in the reeds and you know not taking into account you know uh, this level right here, I want us all just to take a step back and understand that we all have deadlines. We all have tasks that we need to meet, things that we have to do, people we need to see. But we don't need to go at breakneck speed for everything. Because in my experience, even with LinkedIn, the moment that you apply for a job and you see someone who you know has a better job or has done more things than you. So then there's a rush of what can I do or what should I be doing? So let's all take a step back and really enjoy the moment. So thank you all for listening, everyone. This has been Anish from the Voicecraft Collective. You can contact me at the Voicecraft Collective at gmail.com or at the Voicecraft Collective on Instagram. Thank you very much. Back to you, Lima.